Has the green energy revolution failed, or is it still a promising investment area? If you look at the equity performance of companies from the new energy field, the performance has been pretty disappointing the last 1.5 years. And on the other hand, also subsidies, for instance, for electromobility are being cut in Germany, in the US. So one might start to doubt about the promising prospect of this whole topic. But nothing could be further from the truth. Just look at the chart in the background, which simply shows how much real money has been invested in the energy transition over the last years. And you see this trend is accelerating, also in 2023. It's going up like a rocket. We are currently talking about, each bar is a quarterly figure, quarterly investment in the field of new energy worldwide. Currently we're talking already about 180 billion every quarter being invested. That's almost 600 billion euros being invested worldwide in new energy developments in the last year. And this is not a hobby for rich Europeans, as some might depict this. Just Exhibit B, the next slide. This shows coal consumption in the US over the last decades. We are now back at levels as low as they have been in the 50s. In the current year, the government forecasts that the US will produce more electricity from solar and wind alone than from all coal power stations combined. And what about China? Well, as we all probably know, China is actually the leader in investments in solar and wind, etc. And talking about electromobility, here in the background you have a chart with the global new car registrations of electric vehicles. And what you see is that also this trend is going through the roof. Last year we had already more than 10 million new electric vehicles being licensed for the roads. In the last year, a quarter of all new cars hitting the road has been electric, and the Chinese government expects this to be up to 50% of all new car registrations in 2 years. So the trend towards new energy is well and kicking. So what about the dismal equity performance in the companies in this field? Well, this is a recent phenomenon over the last 1.5 to 2 years in an area where interest rates had been rising very fast, which is always a strong headwind for growth companies. You see it also in other areas of technology. The good point being, obviously, that interest rates will go down in the coming year, 2024. Plus, valuations therefore of those companies have come down a lot. Usually for growth companies, stock of companies we expect earnings, sales growth to be very strong over years and decades. Investors are prepared to pay more for those equities. This premium, this valuation premium, is usually some 30 to 50% and is still in this area for other growth areas of the equity market. But for those companies in the new energy field, these valuations have come down tremendously with the weak equity performance in the last 2 years. On average now, you get equity stocks from those companies currently approximately at the valuation where you buy boring companies like banks, steel, manufacturing, whatever. Of course, it's not that easy because the field is huge. New energy is not just solar and wind, it's also hydrogen, electric storage, electric networks, grids, etc. Of course, not all companies will be winners. There will be technology leaders, some technology losers. So we would really recommend to do your homework, to go deeply looking at which technologies are more promising, which companies are more promising, have a look at valuations. I'll go the simple route. There are easy investment vehicles where professionals do all this work for you. For instance, equity funds dedicated to this particular area of the equity market. But in our view, the investment case for the next years here is quite obvious. You have very strong growth, still in the real economy, money being invested into the energy transition. So companies with the right technologies to drive this will obviously profit tremendously. But currently, with the strong decline of the equity value of these companies over the last 2 years, you get them at a pretty cheap level currently, which in our view is a contradiction that should not last too long, and it's a strong case actually for future investment. So we're quite optimistic for 2024, for the planet, but also for the investment case, and also for our channel. If you please just hit the bell, subscribe us, and follow us also for the next time. All the best to your investments and a happy new year.